Recently, I've been asked to share my current Crusader build that I'm using inside of Diablo Immortal. Spoiler alert, I have a bunch of builds and tips for Crusaders coming very soon, both from myself and from Why Try, but I figured that today, because I've been asked so much, that I would bring you just a video overviewing the build that I put together, particularly for PvE. I do this for dungeons, and I even do a variation of this for Heliquary as well. This is not my PvP build. That will come at a later date. And actually, Why Try has an amazing one that I can't wait to share with you guys. So make sure you subscribe so when that one drops, you don't miss it. But let's take you through one thing at a time. I will let you know I am not a massive player. As you can see, I'm sitting with 2,000 residents. Honestly, the most residents I've ever had inside of the game. And we finally just got our first 2-star gem to an awakened status, to rank 10, and I still can put some gems inside of this slot for the awakening. In the past, I had multiple slots awakened. As you can see, my chest, legs, and shoulders, they were awakened with 1-star gems, which I'm no longer using. So I'm going to take you through, first, my charm. As you can see, we don't have a great charm. We've been getting the worst rolls for charms, and I only have plus 2% on draw and quarter and plus 2% damage on consecration. So no massive advantages that were being had right there. If you take a look at some of my Heliquary bonuses, we could take just a good look at it right here. Overall, we're getting a little bit of combat rating, willpower, strength, vitality, and fortitude. Essentially, this is just a passive weekly Heliquary grind, getting all of these up as high as I can. We're currently sitting at a level 61 Heliquary. That's just across any classes that I decide to use. But let's really get into some of the set items, and I am using 3 different sets, some that you may find interesting. Starting out with the Vithuz set. I only go with the 2-piece set. Some people like to go with the 4-piece, but I'm going with the 2 as of right now. It's going to increase the duration of all of my beneficial effects on my party members and myself by 30%. I like to keep my horse running as long as I can. We have nearly 100% uptime. Unfortunately, one of our cursed pieces of gear right now is removing 3% of my uptime, which is probably hurting that, or definitely hurting that. But Vithu is the first piece I like to use. Then we come on in and we use the Feasting Barons pack for now. I may switch this around in the future, but for now, it increases the duration of your harmful effects by 30%. Essentially, making my harmful effects last longer, dealing more damage over time. Then we're coming with a 4-piece untouchable mount bank. This is the one that is debatable, but I love the shielding that I get from this, both for PvE and for PvP. I just like it. It helps me with my health as well. Each time you take damage, you have a 20% chance to gain a shield that absorbs damage equal to 13% of your maximum life. Can occur more often than once every 9 seconds. I actually like the 9 seconds. It's not like a 20-second cooldown. We get a little bit more there. Plus, with the 4-piece set, Mount Bank's shield duration absorption is increased by 30%, 33% of your maximum life, and you can move unhindered through enemies while this shield is active. So a lot less of the getting stuck and not being able to move because you're getting completely attacked and brutalized. Now, before we get into all this and all the gear I have over there, I also want to show you what particular skills we're using. I'm going with the Sacred Fire with the primary attack, Draw and Quarter, Condemn, Consecration, and Falling Sword. It works out really well. I particularly like it. And the pet that we're using, I just have one right now. This is not my solid pet. This is just one where I have Siphon, so I can get a little bit of health when I'm doing my farming, less health globes needing to be used. But let's get into some of the new pieces of gear that we got going on here. All right, first of all, in this piece of gear, we just have socketed a 3-star rank 3 Bottled Hope. This will be improved over time, but for now, it is what it is. And right here, the legendary is Consecration now engulfs you in intense holy flames, dealing damage to yourself and nearby enemies, and the damage is increased by 18%. What I don't love about this is that it does damage to myself, but it does actually help trigger Mount Bank as well, which is nice, especially if we want to move unhindered, do things. I like this a lot. It works well. The only place it will not work good for this piece of gear is if you're doing something where you don't have the ability to use health globes to heal yourself up when you finally take enough damage. That's the Anointed Brimstone, and the legendary is Sacrificial Flame. I actually love Maw of the Deep. I know that some high-end PvP players use it because of its stunning capability, but I like Maw of the Deep specifically because it's going to allow me to spawn the beast from below from doing damage. Not primary attack damage, not after I kill something, but after I do any type of damage, which I really do like. It comes in handy quite often. This is Heart of the Grandeur, and the legendary is Lightning in a Bottle. Condemn now also conjures a condensed lightning storm that follows you randomly, dealing damage to nearby enemies, and the damage is increased by 18%. I love this. When I go around and run around enemies, it literally triggers lightning and it just smashes them. I will demonstrate all of these once we are done going through the build. Looking at my shoulders, I actually have my rank 10 2-star Fervent Fang. On the fence if Fervent Fang is the best choice right here, but for right now it's what I have and it's what I like because it is rank 10. And it's going to increase the duration of my draw and quarter by 39%. And then because I have the slot Awakened, I'm getting the cooldown decreased by 10%, which helps me have that 100% uptime that we're going for. This is Sivkit's Advantage, and well, there's the legendary attribute. The Galloping Brilliance, I'm using the Pain Clasp gem. This will be my next gem to rank 10, so I can awaken another slot. It's already awakened, I just need to activate it. And we're almost there, we're just slowly getting our runes for this. And the legendary attribute, Drawn Quarter, now calls a Horse of Light, causing those that stand within its aura to take damage. The damage is increased by 18%. I was also using the one that had Trails of Flames behind me. I like that one as well. Kills things behind, but Galloping Brilliance kills things that are in my circle. And 3 of my skills are going to be very circle concentrated. Draw and Quarter, Condemn, and Consecration are all going to do damage right around me, which I absolutely love. Let's go to the first primary piece of gear, Luminous Rain, and we have a rank 5, 4 out of 5-star Seeping Bile socketed in here. It's Divinity Rod. Falling Sword now follows you, damaging nearby enemies and reducing their movement speed. Falling Sword damage is increased by 18%. Falling Sword is one of the best skills that we use here. It does area damage, a very wide area damage, and it follows you where you go. It's really great for farming as well because you could quickly one-click the Falling Sword button and you could kill enemies in a very wide range. I really do like that one. Here we have Torrential Refrain. Socketed is a 3 out of 5-star, rank 5, Blood-Soaked Jade. The legendary attribute, Condemn, immediately triggers all continual damage on the target it hits, causing them to take the remaining damage instantly. The cooldown is reduced by 3.6%, so this will get that big bang of damage very quickly. We're going on to our secondary pieces of gear right now. We have Horn Splitter, and I have a Mother's Lament, a baby Mother's Lament. I'm focused on my Pain Clasp, next as my 2-star, then we'll get into the Mother's Lament and the Viper's Bite that we're going to go into now, but I really want to get the Awakened slot, so that's where I'm really spending my gem power. Mother's Lament, though, is a very good gem, and it's one that you should use for this build. Sacred Fire now ignites enemies, burning them for 7,000 damage over 2 seconds. Damage is increased by 90%. So that's just nice primary attack. And although a lot of time farming I won't use primary attack, I will use it when I'm going against yellows, anything that I might encounter that's large. And then we have our Batterim, and it's got the Viper's Bite socketed, only a rank 5. Condemn damage increased by 3% for every enemy hit, up to a maximum of 24%. So when I drop Condemn in a mob, it's essentially getting 24% increased damage because I'm hitting multiple enemies at one time. It really does work nicely. Now let's get ourselves back over here. We could take a look at what my Haradrim looks like. I essentially try to organize and upgrade everything as evenly as I can inside of the Haradrim. We're getting 264 damage, 2640 life, 621 armor and armor pen, and 594 for potency and resistance. So far, it is a good work in progress. Now, keep in mind, I try to get beneficial effect duration on any piece of gear where I have these bonus attributes. As you can see, duration of beneficial effects increased by 2%. You will find this on every piece of gear that I wear. I roll to get all of this beneficial effect duration increased so that I can have uptime on all of these skills. I find it very important. Notice I have 2 pieces of gear level 26. There are definitely players that have higher levels than I do. And I'm now going to get this shoulder piece to 26. Once I do, I will go to the legs, and so on down the way, because at 26 you have the next benefit, or the next bonus unlocked, for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bonuses that we can unlock. At level 21 through 25, you only have 4. So you're getting a little bit of a bonus there as well. And the Paragon tree that I run with is essentially Treasure Hunter. I will sometimes go in with Warden if I want to do something like a little, when I'm paying less attention, type farming, or if I want a little bit more protection. But Treasure Hunter, I just try and get that extra gold when I'm out in the open world or doing anything like that. If I'm doing Heliquary and using this build, I'll go in and I will use the Gladiator tree, which I have maxed out for that. So let me take you a little bit through and show you what everything looks like. First of all, when we hop on our horse, notice we are surrounded right here with the drawn quarter. This does damage just from kind of being in the area. Notice it follows me everywhere I go, unlike when we go through and run with the flames behind. I potentially like that. Now we can come and drop some of this. Notice it runs along with me, doing a little bit of lightning damage, following me as I go. Nothing crazy, but then if we want to do a little bit more burn damage, we can do that right here. We're also taking burn damage as well. Notice I'm not using any primary skills whatsoever, just running around. But also notice my mount bank did activate, allowing for my shields to pop while I was taking that damage. Then we could take a little bit of a heal and be good. And then finally, Falling Sword. I could stand right here and do damage to enemies all over, both below, all around, using this Falling Sword. Again, we are really looking for high uptime. I want to go again here with Falling Sword, just dropping tons of damage. Those lightning bolts, they strike hard. And then if I want to go around and just farm it all, I'll pop all of them. We'll run around and just do our circle farm with our friends, make a mess of whatever's on the map, and then just go clean it all up once we're done with our circle. Notice everything will go down. A lot of times when farming, I will skip the burn because I don't want to take the damage. Like right here, I'll take a little bit of damage from using this. Again, it's not a ton. I'm not taking a ton of damage from utilizing it, but I'll sometimes skip that one. And you'll also notice the Maw of the Deep, we have that little monster popping out, doing damage to anything, and that can happen every, 20 seconds or so. And it also has a nice stun if you're going against anyone in PvP, which is why I think we see it quite often in PvP. Maw of the Deep, in my opinion, a really fun gem to use. The build is solid. I like it, and this is the one that I've been using for a while. The area of effect damage really just crushes in multiple areas of the game. Also, the Crusader, as we all know, is a great class that we could use inside of PvP. This not being one of the builds that you'd probably want to use for PvP, though. Maybe at low end you can get away with it, but you'll find yourself getting knocked off your horse over and over again. So if you want to build out your Crusader, do some insane farming, you now have a build that you can use for that. Hope you found this useful. If you did, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with another video.